Marcus Wellington stood very still outside the big palace gates. He wore a red jacket and tall black hat. His job was to guard the palace where the Queen lived. He had been doing this job for many years. Every day he stood in the same spot for hours. He could not move. He could not talk to people. He could not smile or wave. These were the rules. It was a cold morning in London. Many people walked by the palace. Some took pictures of Marcus. Some tried to make him laugh, but Marcus never moved. He looked straight ahead like a statue. This was what good guards did. Marcus had been a soldier for 23 years. He started when he was very young. He loved his job. He felt proud to protect the Queen. His uniform was always clean. His boots were always shiny. Other soldiers looked up to him. He never broke the rules. The sun was getting higher in the sky. More people came to see the palace. Buses stopped nearby. Tourists got out with cameras. Children pointed at Marcus and his big hat. Their parents told them to be quiet, but Marcus could hear everything. He just could not show it. Then Marcus heard something different. It was not the sound of cameras or talking. It was crying. Someone was crying very softly. The sound came from below. Marcus wanted to look down, but he could not move his head. Guards were not allowed to look around. The crying got a little louder. It sounded like a child. Marcus felt worried, but he kept looking straight ahead. Maybe the child would stop crying. Maybe the parents would come. Maybe someone else would help, but the crying did not stop. Marcus tried not to listen, but it was hard. The crying sounded so sad. It sounded scared. Marcus had never heard a child cry like this before. His heart started to beat faster. He wanted to help, but he could not move. Minutes passed. The crying continued. People walked by, but no one stopped to help. Some people looked at the crying child, but they kept walking. Maybe they thought someone else would help. Maybe they were too busy. Marcus felt angry that no one cared. The child was sitting on the steps near Marcus. He could see her from the corner of his eye. She was very small. She looked about 6 years old. Her dress was dirty and torn. Her hair was messy. She had no shoes on her feet. She looked lost and alone. Marcus felt his hands shake a little. This was not good. Guards were never supposed to shake. They were supposed to be strong and still. But seeing this little girl made him feel different. She looked so helpless. She looked like she needed someone to care about her. The little girl looked up at Marcus. Her face was covered with tears. Her eyes were red from crying. She looked at his tall hat and red jacket. She seemed to think he was important. She seemed to think he could help her. Marcus tried to look away, but he could not. The little girl's eyes were so sad. They reminded him of his sister when she was young. His sister used to cry when she was scared. Marcus always helped her then. But now he could not help this little girl. He had to follow the rules. The girl stood up slowly. She was holding something in her small hand. It looked like a piece of paper. The paper was white, but dirty. It was folded many times. The girl held it like it was very important. She walked closer to Marcus. She was so small that she only came up to his knee. She looked up at his face. Marcus could see that she was very scared. But she was also brave. She had something important to tell him. The little girl held up the piece of paper. She wanted Marcus to take it. Her hand was shaking. Marcus looked down at her. This was against all the rules. Guards were not supposed to take things from people. They were not supposed to talk to anyone. They were not supposed to move. But something about this little girl was different. She was not a tourist trying to be funny. She was not someone trying to make him break the rules. She was a child who needed help. She was alone and scared. She had walked up to him because she thought he could help her. Marcus looked around quickly. There were many people nearby, but no one was watching him closely. Everyone was looking at the palace or taking pictures. No other guards were close enough to see what he was doing. The little girl kept holding up the paper. Tears were still falling down her face. She said something very quietly. Marcus could barely hear her. She said, "Please, sir, please help me." Marcus felt his heart break. This little girl was asking him for help. She believed he was someone who could save her. She had chosen him out of all the people walking by. She trusted him even though she did not know him. Marcus made a decision that would change everything. He moved his hand just a little bit. It was the first time he had moved during his duty. He reached down and took the paper from the little girl's hand. The paper felt cold and damp from her tears. The little girl smiled for the first time. It was a small smile, but it made Marcus feel better. She had given him the paper. Now maybe someone would help her. She stepped back and sat down on the steps again. She kept looking at Marcus, waiting to see what he would do. Marcus held the paper carefully. He could not read it yet. He had to wait until no one was looking. He put the paper in his pocket. He would read it when he could. But already, he knew that whatever was written on that paper would be very important. The little girl kept sitting on the steps. She was not crying anymore. She was waiting. She believed that Marcus would help her. She believed that the paper would make everything better. Marcus hoped she was right. He hoped he could help her. But first, he had to know what the paper said. Marcus continued to stand guard, but everything felt different now. He was still wearing his red jacket and tall hat. He still looked like a statue to everyone walking by. But inside, he felt changed. He had broken a rule to help a child. He had chosen to care instead of just following orders. The morning sun got warmer. More people came to see the palace. But Marcus only thought about the little girl and the paper in his pocket. He wondered what it said. He wondered who had written it. He wondered what he would do next. He knew that his life as a guard might never be the same again. Marcus stood at his post for another hour. The paper felt heavy in his pocket. He wanted to read it, but too many people were watching. Guards were never supposed to read things while on duty. They were supposed to look straight ahead and think about protecting the palace. Finally, a group of tourists moved to look at a different part of the palace. Marcus had a few seconds when no one was looking directly at him. He moved his hand slowly to his pocket. He pulled out the paper carefully. His hands were shaking a little. The paper was folded very small. Marcus opened it quietly. The writing was hard to read. Someone had written it quickly with a pencil. The letters were not straight. Some words were crossed out. It looked like someone had been crying while writing it. Marcus read the words slowly. At first, he could not believe what he was seeing. He read it again to make sure he understood. The words made his heart beat very fast. This was not what he had expected. The note said, "Please help my daughter Emma. I am dying in the hospital and have no family. She has been alone for 2 days. Room 247, St. Mary's Hospital. Her mother, Sarah Chen." Marcus read the note 3 times. Each time the words hit him harder. This little girl's mother was dying. The child had been alone for 2 days. She had no family to help her. She had somehow found her way to the palace to ask for help. Marcus looked down at the little girl. She was still sitting on the steps. She was looking at him with hope in her eyes. She believed that he would help her now that he had read the note. She did not know that he was just a guard. She thought he had the power to save her mother. Chateau. Girl's name was Emma. Marcus looked at her more carefully now. She was very thin. Her dress was the only clothes she had. Her feet were dirty from walking on the streets with no shoes. She had been taking care of herself for 2 days. She was only 6 years old. Marcus felt angry and sad at the same time. How could a little child be alone for so long? Where were the people who were supposed to help children? How had Emma managed to find food and stay safe? How had she known to come to the palace? Emma stood up and walked closer to Marcus again. She looked up at his face. She could see that he had read the note. She smiled a little and said very quietly, "My mama said the soldiers with big hats are the bravest people in London. She said if something bad happened, I should find them." Marcus felt tears in his eyes, but guards were not allowed to cry. Emma's mother had told her to find the Queen's guards if she needed help. The mother had believed that guards were good people who would protect her daughter. Now Marcus had to decide if that was true. Emma continued talking in her small voice. "Mama has been sick for a long time. She sleeps a lot now. Yesterday she could not wake up very well. She gave me the note and told me to find the soldiers. I walked for a very long time to get here." Marcus wanted to ask Emma many questions, but he could not talk while on duty. He wanted to know how she had walked so far. He wanted to know if she had eaten anything. He wanted to know if anyone had tried to hurt her, but he could only listen and try to understand. Emma sat down on the steps again. She said, "I waited here all night. I was scared, but I knew you would help me when you came. Mama said soldiers always help people who need it." Marcus realized that Emma had slept outside the palace. She had spent the whole night alone on the cold steps. She had been waiting for the guards to arrive in the morning. She had believed that they would save her mother. The note was still in Marcus's hand. He looked at it again. Room 247, St. Mary's, Hospital. Sarah Chen. Emma's mother was in the hospital right now. She might be dying while Marcus stood here. She had written this note as her last hope to save her daughter. Marcus thought about Emma's mother. She must have been very brave to let her daughter go alone. She must have been very scared. She had no family and no friends to help. She had only her 6-year-old daughter and a piece of paper with a message for strangers. Marcus looked around at all the people walking by the palace. They were taking pictures and having fun. They had families and friends. They had homes to go to. They did not know that a little girl was sitting nearby with no one to care for her. Emma was being very patient. She sat quietly on the steps and waited. Sometimes she looked at Marcus. Sometimes she looked at the other people. She did not cry anymore. She believed that everything would be okay now that the guard had her mother's note. Marcus tried to think about what he should do. He could not leave his post. That was the most important rule for guards. If he left, he could lose his job. He could get in serious trouble. Other guards would think he was not a good soldier, but if he did not leave, what would happen to Emma? Her mother was dying in the hospital. Emma had no food and no place to sleep. She had no one to take care of her. She was just a little child who needed help right away. Marcus thought about his own family. His parents had died when he was young. His sister was the only family he had left. He loved his sister very much. If his sister had a daughter, Marcus would want someone to help her if she was in trouble. Marcus also thought about why he became a guard. He wanted to protect people. He wanted to serve his country and help keep everyone safe. But what was more important? Standing still outside a palace or saving a child's life? The sun was getting higher. More tourists came to see the palace. Emma was getting tired from sitting on the hard steps. She laid down and put her head on. Her arm. She was so small and looked so tired, Marcus made a decision in his heart. He knew what he had to do. It would be the hardest thing he had ever done as a soldier. It would change his life forever. But looking at Emma, he knew it was the right thing to do. He could not let this little girl suffer alone. He could not let her mother die without seeing her daughter again. He could not follow rules when a child's life was in danger. Some things were more important than being a perfect guard. Marcus looked at Emma one more time. She was almost asleep on the steps. Her little hand was still holding the spot where the note had been. She trusted him completely. She believed he would save her and her mother. Marcus knew that in a few minutes he would do something that no Queen's Guard had ever done. He would leave his post. He would break the most important rule. He would choose a little girl over his duty as a soldier. But first he had to be sure. He had to be absolutely certain that this was the right thing to do. He read the note one more time. Room 247, St. Mary's Hospital. Sarah Chen, a mother who was dying, a daughter who had no one else in the world. Marcus folded the note and put it back in his pocket. He looked down at Emma. She was looking up at him with complete trust. She was waiting for him to save her world. Marcus knew there was no choice to make. He had already decided. He was going to help Emma no matter what happened to him. Marcus took a deep breath. He had never been so scared in his life, but he knew what he had to do. He looked around one more time. There were many people near the palace, but most of them were not paying attention to him. They were looking at the building or talking to each other. Slowly, Marcus began to move. First, he moved his head. This was already breaking the rules. Guards were supposed to keep their heads straight and look forward. But Marcus looked down at Emma. She sat up when she saw him moving. Marcus reached up and took off his tall black hat. This was the hat that made him a Queen's Guard. Taking it off while on duty was a very serious thing. Other guards would be shocked if they saw him. His commanders would be very angry. Emma watched as Marcus held his hat in his hands. She did not understand why this was so important, but she could see that Marcus was doing something special for her. She stood up and moved closer to him. Next, Marcus did something even more shocking. He put his rifle down. Guards never put down their rifles while on duty. The rifle was part of their job. It showed that they were soldiers protecting the palace. Setting it down meant Marcus was no longer acting as a guard. People walking by started to notice that something was happening. A few tourists stopped and pointed. They had never seen a Queen's Guard move before. Some people took out their phones to record what was happening. Marcus did not care about the people watching. He only cared about Emma. He bent down so he could look at her face. Now, they were the same height. Emma smiled when she saw Marcus up close. His eyes were kind, and she could see that he wanted to help her. "Hello, Emma," Marcus said quietly. His voice was gentle. "I read your mother's note. I am going to help you." Emma's eyes got very big. The guard was talking to her. She had not expected this. She thought guards could not talk. But Marcus was different. He was choosing to help her instead of following the rules. "Are you really going to help my mama?" Emma asked. Her voice was very small and hopeful. Yes, Marcus said. I am going to take you to see your mother right now. We need to hurry. Marcus stood up. He looked at his hat and rifle on the ground. He had been a Queen's Guard for many years. This uniform and these things were very important to him. But Emma was more important. Marcus picked up Emma. She was very light, because she had not eaten much food in 2 days. She put her arms around his neck and held on tight. She felt safe for the first time since her mother got very sick. We are going to get a taxi, Marcus told Emma. Do you know what a taxi is? Emma nodded. It's a car that takes people places, but Mama said we don't have money for taxis. Don't worry about money, Marcus said. I will pay for the taxi. We need to get to the hospital fast. Marcus walked away from the palace carrying Emma. Behind him, his hat and rifle stayed on the ground. Other people would find them soon. His commanders would want to know where he went. But Marcus did not think about that now. People on the streets stared at Marcus. He was still wearing his Red Guard uniform, but he was carrying a little girl. This was very strange. Queen's Guards did not carry children. They did not leave the palace. They did not break rules. But Marcus did not care what people thought. He had a mission now. His mission was to get Emma to her mother before it was too late. This was more important than any duty he had ever had as a soldier. Marcus walked to the street where the taxis drove. He put up his hand to stop a taxi. The first taxi did not stop. Maybe the driver thought it was strange to see a guard asking for a ride. The second taxi stopped. The taxi driver looked very surprised when he saw Marcus. Are you really a Queen's Guard? He asked. Yes, Marcus said. I need to get to St. Mary's Hospital right away. This little girl's mother is very sick. The taxi driver looked at Emma. She looked very sad and tired. He could see that this was an emergency. Get in, he said. I will drive as fast as I can. Marcus got in the taxi with Emma on his lap. The taxi driver started driving toward the hospital. Marcus felt scared but also relieved. He was finally doing something to help Emma. He was not just standing still anymore. Emma looked out the window as the taxi drove through London. She had walked these streets alone for 2 days. Now she was riding in a taxi with a soldier who cared about her. Everything felt different. Is my mama going to be okay? Emma asked Marcus. Marcus did not know how to answer this question. Emma's mother was dying. The note had said so. But Marcus did not want to make Emma more scared than she already was. We are going to see her right now, Marcus said. That is what's important. You will be with your mother, and she will be so happy to see you. Emma smiled a little. She was excited to see her mother again. She had been so worried about her. Now the kind soldier was taking her to the hospital. Maybe everything would be okay. The taxi driver looked at Marcus in the mirror. Are you sure you should be doing this? He asked. Won't you get in trouble for leaving your post? Marcus thought about this question. Yes, he would definitely get in trouble. He might lose his job. He might have to go to court. Other soldiers might think he was a bad person for breaking the rules. Probably, Marcus said. But this little girl needs help. Her mother is dying, and she has been alone for 2 days. Some things are more important than rules. The taxi driver nodded. He understood. He had children too. He would want someone to help his children if they were in trouble. Emma was getting sleepy in Marcus's arms. She had been awake for a long time. She had been worried and scared. Now she felt safe. She knew the soldier would take care of her. What's your name? Emma asked Marcus. My name is Marcus, he said. "What do you like to do for fun, Emma?" Emma thought about this. "I like to draw pictures. Mom and I draw together when she feels good. I draw flowers and animals." "That sounds very nice," Marcus said. "Maybe when your mother feels better, you can draw a picture of today. You can draw the palace and the guard who helped you." Emma smiled. "I will draw you with your big hat, but I will make you smiling in the picture." Marcus laughed a little. Guards are not supposed to smile, but I think I would like that picture very much. The taxi was getting close to the hospital. Marcus could see the big building ahead. Soon, Emma would see her mother again. Marcus hoped her mother was still alive. He hoped they would not be too late. Marcus also thought about what would happen after they got to the hospital. He would have to call his commanders and tell them what he had done. He would have to explain why he left his post. He would have to face the consequences of his decision. But looking at Emma in his arms, Marcus knew he had made the right choice. This little girl needed help, and he was the only person who could help her. Being a good person was more important than being a perfect soldier. The taxi stopped in front of the hospital. Marcus paid the driver and got out with Emma. They walked toward the big glass doors. Emma held Marcus's hand tight. She was nervous about seeing her mother, but she was not afraid anymore. She had Marcus with her now. As they walked into the hospital, Marcus made a promise to himself. No matter what happened next, he would make sure Emma was safe. He would find a way to take care of her. He would not let her be alone again. The hospital doors closed behind them. Marcus was no longer a Queen's Guard standing at his post. He was just a man trying to help a little girl find her mother. And that felt like the most important job he had ever had. Marcus and Emma walked into the hospital together. The hospital was very big and busy. There were many people walking around. Some people were doctors and nurses in white clothes. Some people were visitors coming to see sick family members. Emma held Marcus's hand very tight. She had never been in such a big building before. There were so many sounds and smells. People were talking loudly. Machines were making beeping noises. Emma felt scared, but Marcus made her feel safer. Marcus walked to the front desk. A woman in a blue shirt was sitting there. She looked up when she saw Marcus in his Red Guard uniform. She looked very surprised. "Can I help you?" the woman asked. She was staring at Marcus's red jacket and gold buttons. "Yes," Marcus said. "I need to find Sarah Chen. She is in room 247. This is her daughter, Emma." The woman looked at Emma. Emma was still holding Marcus's hand. The woman could see that Emma looked very tired and sad. "Are you family?" the woman asked. Marcus did not know how to answer this. He was not Emma's family. He had just met her 2 hours ago, but Emma had no other family. Her mother was alone in the hospital. "I am helping Emma find her mother," Marcus said. "Emma has been looking for her mother for 2 days. The woman looked at her computer. She typed in Sarah Chen's name. "Room 247 is on the second floor," she said. "Take the elevator over there." Marcus thanked the woman. He picked up Emma and carried her to the elevator. Emma was getting more excited now. She was going to see her mother soon. "Is Mama going to be happy to see me?" Emma asked. "She is going to be very happy," Marcus said. "She has been worried about you. She will be so glad that you are safe." The elevator took them to the second floor. Marcus carried Emma down the long hallway. They passed many rooms with sick people inside. Some rooms were quiet. Some rooms had families visiting. Finally, they found room 247. The door was partly open. Marcus could see a bed inside with someone lying in it. His heart started beating faster. This was Emma's mother. Marcus put Emma down outside the room. "Are you ready to see your mama?" he asked. Emma nodded, but she looked nervous. She had not seen her mother since she left with the note. She was worried about how her mother would look. Marcus pushed the door open slowly. Inside the room, a woman was lying in the hospital bed. She had dark hair and looked very thin and pale. She was sleeping, but she opened her eyes when she heard the door. When Sarah Chen saw Emma, her face changed completely. Her eyes got very wide. She tried to sit up in the bed. "Emma," Sarah said. Her voice was weak, but she sounded so happy. "Oh, my baby, you came back." Emma ran to her mother's bed. Sarah reached out and pulled Emma close to her. Both of them started crying, but they were happy tears. "Mama, I found the soldier," Emma said. "Just like you told me. He read your note and brought me here." Sarah looked at Marcus for the first time. She saw his red uniform and knew he was a Queen's Guard. She could not believe that a royal guard was standing in her hospital room. "You brought her here?" Sarah asked Marcus. "You left your post to help my daughter." Marcus walked closer to the bed. "Yes," he said. "Emma gave me your note. I could not leave her alone." Sarah started crying, harder. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you so much. I was so scared. I thought I would never see her again." Marcus could see that Sarah was very sick. She looked like she had not eaten in many days. Her skin was yellow and she was breathing hard. But she was smiling because Emma was with her. "How long do you have?" Marcus asked quietly. Sarah looked at Emma, then back at Marcus. "The doctors say maybe a few days, maybe less." Marcus felt very sad. Emma was going to lose her mother very soon. After that, she would be completely alone. She had no other family. She had no friends to help her. "What will happen to Emma?" Marcus asked. Sarah's face became very worried. "I don't know," she said. "I have been trying to find someone to take care of her, but I have no family here. I came to England from Hong Kong many years ago. I don't have friends who can help." Marcus sat down in the chair next to the bed. This was a very big problem. Emma needed someone to take care of her after her mother died. She could not live alone. She was only 6 years old. "Have you talked to social services?" Marcus asked. "Yes," Sarah said. "They will put Emma in a children's home after I die. But I don't want that. I want her to have a real family. I want someone to love her." Emma was listening to this conversation. She did not understand everything, but she knew her mother was worried about her future. "What's a children's home?" Emma asked. Sarah did not want to explain this to Emma. She did not want Emma to be scared. "It's a place where children live when they don't have parents," Sarah said carefully. "But I don't want to live there," Emma said. "I want to live with you, Mama." Sarah's heart was breaking. She pulled Emma closer. "I know, baby. I want that too, but Mama is very sick." Marcus watched this sad conversation. He felt angry that such a good little girl had to go through this. Emma had done nothing wrong. She just needed someone to love her and take care of her. Marcus thought about his own life. He lived alone in a small apartment. He had no wife and no children. He had been a soldier for so many years that he had never made a family of his own. "What if Emma didn't have to go to a children's home?" Marcus asked suddenly. Sarah and Emma both looked at him. "What do you mean?" Sarah asked. Marcus took a deep breath. He was about to say something that would change his life forever. "What if I took care of Emma? What if she lived with me?" Sarah stared at Marcus. She could not believe what she was hearing. "You would do that? You would take care of my daughter?" "Yes," Marcus said. "I would love her and protect her. I would make sure she has everything she needs." Emma looked back and forth between Marcus and her mother. "Would Marcus be my new daddy?" she asked. Marcus felt tears in his eyes. "If you want me to be," he said, "I would be honored to be your father." Sarah was crying again. "You don't even know us," she said. "Why would you do this?" "Because Emma trusted me," Marcus said. She walked up to a stranger and asked for help. She believed that I was a good person. I want to prove that she was right. Marcus took out his phone. "I need to call my commander and tell him what I have done. I will probably lose my job as a guard. But that's okay. Taking care of Emma is more important." Sarah grabbed Marcus's hand. "Are you sure about this? This will change your whole life." Marcus looked at Emma. She was smiling at him. She liked the idea of Marcus being her father. "Yes," Marcus said. "I am sure. Emma needs a family, and I need a purpose bigger than just standing guard." Marcus called his commander and explained everything. The commander was very angry at first. He said Marcus had broken the most important rules. He said there would be serious consequences. But when Marcus explained about Emma and her dying mother, the commander became quiet. He said he would have to report this to his superiors. He said Marcus should stay at the hospital until they decided what to do. After Marcus hung up the phone, Sarah took his hand again. "Thank you," she said. "You have given me the greatest gift. I can die in peace knowing that Emma will be loved." Emma climbed onto Marcus's lap. "Are you really going to be my daddy?" she asked. Marcus hugged her tight. "Yes, Emma. I promise I will take care of you forever." Sarah smiled as she watched them together. She had prayed for someone to help Emma, and God had sent her a royal guard. Marcus had given up his career to save a little girl he had just met. The three of them spent the rest of the day together in the hospital room. Sarah told Marcus all about Emma's favorite things. She told him what foods Emma liked and what books she enjoyed. She wanted to make sure Marcus knew everything about taking care of her daughter. As the sun went down, Sarah was getting very tired. But she was not afraid anymore. She knew Emma would be safe and loved. The brave soldier who had left his post to help them had become their family. 3 days later, Sarah Chen died peacefully in her sleep. Emma was sleeping in Marcus's arms when it happened. Marcus had stayed at the hospital every day and night. He wanted to make sure Emma was not alone when her mother passed away. When Emma woke up and saw that her mother was gone, she cried for a long time. Marcus held her and let her cry. He told her that her mother loved her very much, and that she was in heaven now. He promised Emma that he would never leave her. The funeral was very small. Only Marcus and Emma were there, along with one nurse, from the hospital who had been kind to Sarah. Marcus wore his best suit instead of his guard uniform. He was no longer a Queen's Guard. Marcus's commanders had decided that he had to leave the army. Breaking his post was a very serious offense. But something unexpected happened after the story got out. Newspapers wrote about the guard who gave up his career to save a little girl. Television news showed pictures of Marcus and Emma at the hospital. People all over England read about their story. Many people wrote letters saying Marcus was a hero. They said he had done the right thing. They said a good soldier protects children, not just buildings. The letters reached very important people. Even members of the royal family heard about Marcus and Emma. They were moved by the story of sacrifice and love. 2 weeks after Sarah's funeral, Marcus got a phone call that changed everything. The call was from Buckingham Palace. The Queen herself wanted to meet Marcus and Emma. Marcus could not believe it. He had broken the rules and lost his job. He thought the Queen would be angry with him. But instead, she wanted to honor him. The day of the meeting, Marcus dressed Emma in her best dress. It was the only clean dress she had. Marcus wore his best suit. They took a taxi to Buckingham Palace, the same place where everything had started. When they arrived at the palace, Marcus felt strange. Just a few weeks ago, he had been standing guard outside these same gates. Now he was walking inside as a visitor. A palace worker led them to a beautiful room with gold decorations and expensive furniture. Emma had never seen anything so fancy. She held Marcus's hand tight and looked around with big eyes. Then the Queen walked into the room. She was smaller than Emma had expected, but she looked very important. Emma remembered her mother teaching her to curtsy, so she did her best curtsy for the Queen. The Queen smiled at Emma, then looked at Marcus. "Mr. Wellington," she said, "I have heard about what you did. You chose compassion over duty." Marcus did not know what to say. "Your Majesty, I broke my oath as a guard. I abandoned my post." "Yes, you did," the Queen said. "But you saved a child's life. You gave up your career to help someone who needed you. That takes true courage." The Queen sat down so she could look at Emma more easily. "And you must be Emma," she said. "You are a very brave little girl. You walked all the way to my palace to get help for your mother." Emma nodded. "My mama said the soldiers with big hats were the bravest people." She was right. Marcus saved us. The Queen looked back at Marcus. "I am told you want to adopt Emma officially." "Yes, Your Majesty," Marcus said. "I want to give her a good home and family." The Queen nodded. "I think that is wonderful. But I also think you deserve something more." The Queen called for her assistant, who brought in some official papers. "Mr. Wellington, I am offering you a new position. I want you to work with charities that help children who have no families. You will travel around England and help other children like Emma." Marcus could not believe what he was hearing. "You want to give me a job, even after I broke the rules?" "Sometimes the most important thing a person can do is break a rule to help someone else," the Queen said. "You showed that protecting children is more important than protecting buildings. That is exactly the kind of person I want working for me." Marcus felt tears in his eyes. He would have a new job helping children. He would be able to support Emma and give her everything she needed. "There is one more thing," the Queen said. She took out a special medal. "I am giving you this honor for your bravery and service. Not just your service as a guard, but your service to humanity." The Queen put the medal around Marcus's neck. Emma clapped her hands. She was so proud of Marcus. "And Emma," the Queen said, "I have something for you too." She gave Emma a beautiful doll dressed like a princess. "This doll belonged to my own daughter when she was your age. I want you to have it." Emma hugged the doll tight. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will take very good care of her." After they left the palace, Marcus and Emma went to their new home. Marcus had found a small house with a garden where Emma could play. It was not fancy, but it was warm and safe. That night, as Marcus tucked Emma into her new bed, she looked up at him with a serious expression. "Marcus," she said, "are you happy that you helped me?" Marcus smiled. "Emma, helping you was the best thing I have ever done in my life, even though you lost your job as a guard." Especially because I lost my job as a guard, Marcus said. Being your father is much more important than being a guard. Emma smiled. I'm glad Mama told me to find the soldiers. I'm glad I found you. Marcus kissed her forehead. I'm glad you found me too, sweetheart. Sweet dreams. As Emma fell asleep, Marcus sat in his chair and thought about how much his life had changed. A month ago, he was a single man whose only job was to stand still and look straight ahead. Now he was a father to a wonderful little girl, and he had a new job helping other children in need. Marcus still wore his medal sometimes, but his favorite thing was when Emma drew pictures of their family. In every picture, Marcus was smiling. She always drew him smiling, even though guards were not supposed to smile. Years later, when Emma was older, she would tell people about the day she met her father. She would say that she walked up to a stranger and asked for help, and that stranger gave up everything to save her. Marcus would tell people that Emma had taught him what real courage was. It was not standing perfectly still while following orders. Real courage was choosing love over rules and choosing to help someone even when it might cost you everything. The little girl who had cried on the palace steps became a happy child with a loving father. The guard who had abandoned his post became a man who helped hundreds of children find families. And sometimes, when they walked past Buckingham Palace together, Emma would point to the spot where she had first met Marcus. She would remember the day when a little girl's trust in a stranger's kindness changed both of their lives forever. Marcus would look at that spot and remember the moment when he chose to be more than just a guard. He chose to be a father, a helper, and a hero. And that choice had given him the greatest gift of all, a daughter who loved him and a purpose that truly mattered. Emma and Marcus lived happily together, proving that sometimes the most beautiful families are not born, but chosen. And sometimes the greatest love stories begin with a simple act of kindness between strangers who become family.